Hi, this is CSProfessorPam, and welcome back to Jumpstart Code. We are learning JavaScript, taking our first baby steps in JavaScript. And what we've done so far is created a project that has 3 files in it. We have an index.html that is pretty basic. What we have is an h1 element. We have a button here, and I have an H2, which is going to be a place where I am going to display a message. We have just a couple things in the CSS file, and in our JavaScript file, we started off with just an alert to make sure that the file was connected, and then we learned about a console log statement in order to see what's going on. I'm going to actually do a quick little review here and show you that. So let's save all. And notice when my page starts up, I get this alert that tells me it's connected. And over here in my console, let me close this up and make sure we know how to get to the console. Inspect your page, right click and click on inspect and go to the console, and you will see any commands that you anytime you use the console.log command, you will see those things in your console. Remember, JavaScript is a case-sensitive language, so this all has to be in lowercase or this is not going to work. And where do we connect our JavaScript? At the very bottom of our body, right before I close the body, this is where I make the connection between my HTML file and my JavaScript file. All right, now, what we want to do is when I click this button, I want to make something happen. That's what JavaScript does. It allows us to add action to our page. So in order to do that, first of all, I have to be able to select this button. I have to be able to, because this page is easy. There's only one button on it, but you've seen websites with lots of buttons. So when I created this button, I gave it an ID of hello. You can create whatever names you want for IDs. It's best not to put spaces in them. You notice it has to be in quotes. That could be either double quotes or single quotes. And it's best to give it a name that helps you to remember what that element represents, right? So I have given this an ID of hello, and IDs should be unique. You should only have one element with that ID. A class can be on multiple elements because sometimes you want to style multiple elements the same, but an ID should be unique. So my button has an ID of hello, my H2 has an ID of message. All right, so what we have to do is create or attach an event listener to this button. So, your web page is there, and as you are clicking on things, then you have to make a connection that says, when you click this, I have certain commands that you want to run. So we're going to learn 2 things here: how to attach an event listener, and typically you put those commands that you want to attach into a function. A function is just a way of subcontracting a job to somebody else. When I click this button, I'm going to subcontract the work to somebody else to do it. So there are a lot of ways to identify elements on your page, but because we attached IDs, the command we're going to use is document, that refers to my document, dot get element by ID. Notice the capital E, the capital B, the capital I. It's not going to work without those. The ID that I want to look for on my page is hello, right? And I'm going to put another dot and I'm going to say on click. So basically what I'm saying is find this element that has an ID of hello and if you click it, I want you to look for a function called say hello. Now this function doesn't exist yet. That's fine. We're about to write it. And you get to create a name for that. So I decided that that's the name of the subcontractor that is going to go into action when this button is clicked. So now I need to create the function. And that is simply, we use a keyword function, give it that exact same name. You have to put a set of empty parentheses here for right now. And what I'm going to put in here to make sure it's working is a console log of hello. Because if somehow I have not connected it right, then I may think the problem is with the statements inside of this function, when the real problem is that the function is not connected. So this statement is what is making a connection between when you click this button, here are the actions that I want to happen. So let's see that this works. So I'm going to save all. Actually, I want to get rid of this alert right now. We don't need that. And we don't need this. So I'm going to save all. Go to my page. Let's refresh it. No alert. No hello here because we got rid of that. I'm going to click the button and look. This tells me that I have made that connection. When I click this button, and it's just saying 2 there because basically it's the same output 2 times. So anytime I click this button, it is going to transfer control to whatever is here in this function. Now, what do I really want to do? I want to display hello in that H2 element, right? So that H2 element, we also gave an ID of message. So I can use that to make a connection to that. So it's going to be document get element, remember capital E, by ID message. Now, this is an HTML element. I'm going to do dot text content equals hello world. All right, there's a lot of things going on there. This equal sign here, I have just created an assignment statement. We actually already did one up here as well. The thing on the right gets assigned to the thing on the left. The thing on the left is my element that has message in it, which in this case happens to be an H2. And by saying text content, I am basically saying put that content here inside of the content for this H2. That's what I'm doing. So I am modifying my page or modifying the DOM, the document object model. So let's save, go over here, refresh, click the button and look at what happened. So we have now seen how we attach action to our HTML file. When I click this button, I'm going to refresh and let's sort again. I click the button. That caused control to go to this function because in this statement, this is where we connected. When you click this button, I want you to do this. That's basically what this statement is saying. Do whatever is in this function. So control transfers to this function, and in this function, I am saying, go find this element with this ID in it, and place this content in the text content of that element. So whatever you want to put there, you are able to put, right? Now again, there's a lot of syntax stuff going on here. And for example, if I forget to capitalize that, okay, because Java is a case-sensitive language, and let's say I don't have my inspector open, right? I click the button, nothing is happening. How do I know what's going on? You have to inspect your page, go to your console, and look, I have error messages, right? And it's telling me, get element, let me refresh the page so we can just see the one. Get element by ID is not a function. That's because it does not understand it with a lowercase e. You have to make sure that you have proper JavaScript syntax, right? So now we click the button and we see the hello here and we see the hello here on this page. So we have just learned some important fundamentals in JavaScript. Let's just do a little review here of what we have learned. So we've learned the alert statement that we can use to just pop up a message that's useful for debugging a lot. We've learned console log, which is also very useful for debugging. Those statements will come here in your console. We've actually started learning about something called an assignment statement. The equal sign is your assignment operator. So here I'm saying, look for an element with this ID, and when you click on that element, then attach this function to it. So when you click that element, control goes to whatever set of statements are here. And notice this opening curly bracket and this closing curly bracket that defines the world of this function. Okay? And in our page, again, we created IDs so that we were able to select those elements. And so what I wanted to do when I click on this button, I want to go to the element with message in it, and in the text content, put this particular code in there. And you'll notice if we go back here to elements and to here, let me refresh this page. What we're seeing here is what is rendered or displayed on the page. So you'll see right now this H2 element, when I first refresh the page, has no content in it, right? When I click the button and we do here, look, this content has actually been inserted into the DOM so that when the page is rendered or displayed, we now see that content on the page. So we have now created some action. What we're going to do, so this particular example only has output, which means it's a little boring. It can only display this one message. So in the next lesson, we're going to see how to actually get some input from the user and use that in the action that we take.